To connect to and create a model based on data from SAP Business Planning and Consolidations, or BPC, we can create the connection directly in the connection area or as part of the process of creating a model. For this example, we'll create a connection first and then use that connection to create a model. First, we need to enter a connection name. And optionally, we can add a description. In the System Type area, we can choose between SAP NetWeaver, Microsoft Platform, and SAP BW for HANA. For this example, we'll connect to SAP BPC for Microsoft Platform. Note that before we can connect to any BPC system, the SAP Cloud connector must be installed and configured on the system. The Microsoft Platform option also requires the SAP Analytics Cloud agent to have been installed and configured in SAP Analytics Cloud. Detailed instructions for these prerequisite steps are available from the application help. Next, we need to enter the BPC host name, port, and our user credentials. Now we'll create the connection. Next, we'll create a model based on the connection. We need to choose the Use a Data Source option. First, we'll choose the BPC system connection we just defined. Note that we could create a new connection from here if desired. Next, we need to specify the environment, which identifies a set of models in the BPC system, as well as the specific model we want to work with. We can enable currency conversion if appropriate. To import values that have already been converted to a single currency within BPC, we can leave conversion turned off. Note that in this case, the RPT currency dimension will be imported from BPC, and we can use this dimension in stories to see both the local currency and the pre-converted currencies. To import only the local currency values from BPC and perform the conversion within SAP Analytics Cloud, we need to turn currency conversion on, and then choose the currency conversion table to use, either one already available in SAP Analytics Cloud or one from the BPC system. In this example, we'll add one from BPC. In this case, the appropriate conversion rate model from BPC has been identified automatically. We need to enter a name for the currency conversion table to create an SAP Analytics Cloud based on the rate model, and optionally, we can enter a description. Next, we need to set the filter for the values to be imported to the currency conversion table. Dimensions for which we need to specify members for filtering are identified by a warning symbol. For the category dimension, we'll import only the actual member. A version mapping dialog opens where we need to map the SAP BPC category member name to the target model dimension category name. In this case, the correct mapping is performed automatically. Note that the R_ACCT dimension relates to the value rate types to be imported. In this case, we'll import both average rates and end-of-month rates. A rate type mapping dialog opens where we need to map the average and end rate types from the BPC system to the equivalent conversion rate types available in SAP Analytics Cloud. The average rate type has been mapped correctly, but we need to map the end rate type to closing. We'll continue to set the currency data filters. For the time dimension, we need to choose each member for which we want to import rates. We'll select all time periods. All periods have now been selected. We've finished setting the currency data filters. Now we're ready to import the currency conversion table. The currency conversion table has been imported. Now we need to enter a name for the model to create based on the BPC data. Optionally, we can add a description. Note that models based on SAP BPC are enabled for planning automatically. Next, we can choose to enable users to write data back to BPC, allowing them to use SAP Analytics Cloud as a BPC client extension for planning tasks, or create a basic model, in which case SAP Analytics Cloud can only read data from the BPC system. In this case, we'll enable write-back. Note that when currency conversion is enabled, only the local currency data will be written back to BPC, but when currency conversion is disabled, all values in the RPT currency dimension will be written back to BPC. Finally, we need to set mapping for the data to be imported to the model. As when we imported the currency conversion table, warning symbols identify the dimensions for which we need to apply filters. For the category dimension, we'll import only the actuals. In the version mapping dialog, we need to ensure that the version imported from BPC is mapped to the correct target dimension category and ID. For the time dimension, we'll choose to import data for all members. Now we're ready to map the data. Finally, we can import the data to the model. The model has been created. If desired, we can change the model preferences and save the model again. Thanks for watching.